and the statistic part. Foundation and stats part. Okay. Whatever we are covering in business analytics, all of these will be covered in data science as well. There's only one additional thing over here, which is ML, machine learning. Among this, I'll be taking these three. I'll be covering your term one. Let's say this is your term one, which is Excel, SQL, and Power BI. Clear till this point? Now, one more thing, guys, you have to be interactive to me, right? So that I understand at what level you are understanding it. Second thing, if I talk about the job roles in the market, as per this skill, so let's say if you know only Excel and you're very good at it, so the post for which you can apply is MIS analyst. This person or this team usually works on data cleaning in Excel and reporting, creating visuals and dashboard. Okay. Along with Excel, if you know other things like SQL, Power BI, if you know these things, you can basically apply for data analyst part. That is getting the data from the database and performing analysis on top of it. Okay. But since competition has increased these days, so you need to know Python also along with it. Python mein what you need to know? Foundation and the stats part. Clear? So if you know only Excel, you'll be able to apply for MIS. If you know, if you know all other tools like SQL, Power and Python, you will be able to apply for data analyst. Let's say if you know these things along with it, if you know also machine learning, ML, so you can simply apply for data scientist. But now problem with data scientists is that company usually prefer experienced candidates for the data scientist role. So there are chances that I have seen people who have directly started with data scientist, as in they have started with machine learning models or even directly with deep learning models. But generally the trend is that company usually prefer experienced candidates for the data scientist role. But freshers can apply for data analyst. It's not that you have to start from MIS and then jump to data analyst. No, you can directly start with data analyst. But if you're proficient till this point, right? Now, very important thing over here is whatever concept I'll be covering in Excel, all these concepts, the concept will be same over here till this point. ML is a different thing, but all these concepts will be similar over here, like filtering, sorting. It's just that the syntax will differ, the approach will remain the same, the logic will remain the same, the concept will remain the same. The only thing that can happen is, let's say we are learning a very basic version in Excel. So when we will move to SQL, we will be learning the advanced version of that particular concept. Clear? Point is that be very proficient with Excel when I'm teaching the concepts. ask me the doubts wherever you're facing the doubts. Because if this thing is not very clear, you won't be able to do very good in these tools, even in Python. Because here the syntax will only change, but ideally the concept remains the same. And concept is very important. Okay. So this was the overview of the course and what are the jobs roles in the market that we have. We have one more thing, which is data engineer who works on SQL. But we are not targeting that because data engineer is basically handling the pipelines of the flow of the data, how the pipelines, how the data will get into the database, right? Our main target is basically to look into the analytics part, right? Okay. No, Gaurav, we won't cover ETL part. Again, that's not a part of a data analyst. That's a data engineer part. Okay. Now, yeah, please come. Now, if I talk about like what are the stages of analytics, whenever you get any analytics project, so what are the stages of it? Let's say, or before that, let me put something over here. Or I should say steps for any analytics project. So now tell me, like, whenever you get any analytics project, what is the first thing that you're going to do? You are going to clean the data, collect the data. Which data? So let's say, is it cars data, finance data, marketing data? Which data? Any kind of data. So I am a finance company, and I'll perform the analysis on some other company's data. Let's say whatever the niche the other company is having. Hmm? Hmm? But why would you clean the data? Like which data you're going to clean? That is the question. What is the first step? What is that raw data? So let's say if I go to Google, I extract any data from the Google. So can I perform analysis on that data? Will it make sense? Correct. What type of data we need? Understanding the data, identify the problem, understanding the problem, then collecting data, data collection. Okay. Yeah. So that is Gaurav correct. First, we'll identify the problem. So first we need to understand what is the requirement, business requirement. Because if you go collecting the data blindly and you what analysis you're going to perform on it, will it increase the any sales or profit of the company? Because ideally as a data analyst, what is your job? Your analysis should help in contribution in increasing the numbers of the company. Either it should reduce the loss or it should increase the profit. So the first thing is what? Business requirements. For whom you're performing the analysis and what type of analysis you need to perform. Let's say you're performing some market basket analysis. Just an example, you will be doing this in Python. And you are for an e-commerce company, but the data is not of the e-commerce company, let's say. So will it make sense? No. So you need to know the business requirement, what type of data you need to have. Okay. Once you have the business requirement, what's the next step? Hmm? Do you have the data yet? You just have the problem. Now you'll collect the data as per your business requirement, right? Data collection from multiple sources, or I should say from different sources. It can be online, offline, e-commerce, or database. Okay. You have done data collection. What is the next thing? Hmm? clean the data. So I'll say data cleaning, data cleaning, data munging, data wrangling. All these are different terms with the same meaning. And I should say data transformation. Okay, you have done that. Then what? Hmm? You have to be loud enough. Pre-processing. Pre-processing. What do you mean by pre-processing? This is what not pre-processing is. That is what data cleaning. So that is what data cleaning is. Now you will be removing the duplicates, outdated data, changing data types. That will come under data transformation. That you have done. What's the next step after this? Sorry? Analysis of data. Sparsh, yeah, partially right. Analysis of data, but brief me about it. See, you got a problem. After that, we got like parts of data for the requirement that is generating the analysis. We have six fields and we have to find out which ones are the ones that are going to give us an answer. Because what analysis? About the business requirement that we have. Okay, so let me add you a point over here. Let me add a point over here. Let's say whenever the requirements come to you, business requirements, they are of two types. One is a goal or a vision. Second one is a problem. Okay. So business requirement can be of two types. A goal or a vision can be like, let's say the client comes and tells you, I want to increase my profit by 10% in the next 3 years. Then accordingly, you are going to do the analysis. So that's a goal or a vision. Increasing the profit by 10% in the next 3 years. What could be the problem? Like what could be the problem business requirement? Correct. So let's say client comes and saying, I have been facing losses by like past 1 year. So basically we need to find out the problem for it. Like what, so let's say, see what happens. A company has a lot of products. Now it's very difficult for the non-tech guy to identify just looking at the raw data, which product is getting you the losses, right? So what may happen is over here, is key, let's say there is a category, product category, furniture, right? So furniture, right? So furniture is giving me losses, for example. There are three categories: furniture, some other category, some other category. So let's say furniture is giving me losses. So I don't have the authority. I'll simply discontinue this category, right? Until I am backed up by with the three solid solutions that I can convince them, right? When I further dig this thing, furniture, product category, so this may have further subcategories. Subcategories, product category, furniture may have categories like tables and chairs. So let's say chairs is giving me profit. I mean, the let's whatever the cost price of chair is, it is being sold more than that, and it is returning me what? Profit. Table is also returning me profit, or it may happen let's say table one of the categories returning me losses, right? When I further dig this down, let's say tables. So I don't need to discontinue the entire category. Probably I can discontinue a particular product of that category or particular product subcategory, right? When I now dig down into the table, so now table may be getting the sales from different marketing channels. It can be Facebook ads, Insta ads, Google ads, right? Now I have found out कि when I analyze this thing, I found out कि Insta ad है, इसमें जो marketing cost है, that is on the higher side compared to the lead or the sales it is generating from the Insta ads. So product is not the problem. The channel on which you are performing the marketing is the problem. Correct? So just give you an example. So this is how you are going to drill down through the data to understand what is the exact problem. And this thing is known as EDA, exploratory data analysis. So that is the next step. You have cleaned your data. You are going to perform what? EDA. You are going to understand what has been the problem with the business. If you are not understanding the problem with the business, and if you simply just blindly suggest any solutions to the client, it might work, it might not work. 90% of the cases, it will not work. Right? So that's the next step. Exploratory data analysis. That is what? Understanding what has been happening with the business. Till this point, like what till the point we have got the data, right? That this one is very important to understand over here. Okay. Then we have understood what is the problem with the business or how we can increase the profit. What can be the example you can give me? Any example you can think of this goal or vision wala problem or business requirement? Gaurav, data wrangling is data munging and data cleaning. These three are different terms, but same meaning. We will discuss this on the later stage. Till this point, I'm just giving you an overview of the analytics industry, right? Now, yeah, guys, tell me what can be the example over here for this goal or vision. Let's take the same example. For example, I'm taking the product category, which is furniture, right? Or not furniture. Let's say a very good example will be of cars. What are the type of cars we have? Like a fuel type, petrol, CNG, diesel, and hybrid, EV. These are the categories of cars we have. Okay. Now, earlier, see, diesel cars, like for a particular brand, let's say Maruti Suzuki, okay? Diesel cars were returning them profit. It has constantly been returning the profit to the company. So if I see the graph over here, so it was basically when I say profit means what? Selling price is on the higher side than cost price. They don't have to give discount. Key they have to sell in the loss. They have to sell the car in loss to the customer. Correct? Okay. So now when I talk about the diesel cars, what has happened to diesel cars over the years? What has happened to diesel car sales over the years? Declined over the years, right? Can you tell me any diesel car of Maruti, which is Maruti is selling currently? Null, no diesel car, right? So this is the example of goal or vision over here. Let's say what company did is, see, company saw that the diesel car is returning me the profit, but the sales of the diesel car is declining over the years, right? So in what if the company won't discontinue the product in a timely manner, what will happen? Company will start facing losses. It will increase the losses of the company. So there are two things are happening over here. First, what company can do? It can discontinue the product in timely manner and introduce a new product in the timely manner. So that particular company will be able to capture, let's say, major percentage of the market share, right? So what Maruti did, what other companies are doing till now? Hybrid. Instead of diesel, they are giving the hybrid cars, battery and petrol engine combination, which is returning you the equivalent mileage as diesel cars. So what Maruti did, it discontinued the product and launched a new product in timely manner. And now you can see whatever hybrid cars the Maruti is selling out, those are capturing the major market share percentage compared to the other brands. Because Maruti was able to launch that car in a timely manner. What would happen if Maruti will launch this car now? It won't be able to capture that much market share, which is ultimately lost to the company only. So this is how you can do the analysis for the goal and vision, and I have shown you how to do the analysis for the business requirement if that's a problem. Any doubt till this point? Online guys, any doubt till this point? Offline guys, any doubt? Clear? Okay. Let's say I have done ADA, but what is happening is now, what is the other problem I'm facing currently? What do you think? The car manufacturers, what is the other problem the car manufacturers are facing? Let's say you go to purchase a car, right? So what are the reasons that you want to buy that car? Let's say Mahindra, everyone knows Mahindra. Mahindra. So if you go and buy a particular car, of particular Mahindra's car, what will happen? They'll tell you there is a waiting period of 1 to 1.5 years. Now, as a customer, what will you do? Will you wait for 1 to 1.5 years? No. You will switch to some other brand because ultimately you need a car, right? So that's a loss for Mahindra because people are switching to the other companies because they ultimately need a car. Other companies are delivering giving the cars to the customers in, let's say, 1 month time period. And on the other side, Mahindra is taking 1 to 1.5 years because they are not having that much inventory stock in the inventory, correct? So inventory management, or let's say sales. So if these are already predicted, I can say already assumed or predicted beforehand, that will be easy for the company, right? So that is not, then we have on the fifth, once we have done the EDA, we'll do what? Predictive analysis. Let's say I'm predicting how much inventory I should keep in this particular month, or how much sales are going to happen based on the data what I'm having, right? So let's say what happened is, what are the example I can take over here? So the predictive analysis, let's say probably what's the festival? Diwali. So Diwali, there's a festival before Diwali where people usually buy cars, right? So if based on the data, if that particular company is able to predict that number of particular models of the car, what are the numbers in which the cars are going to get purchased. So accordingly, they can stock up the inventory. Otherwise, again, user has to, or customer will switch to some other company. So here it comes the predictive analysis. I'll discuss this in detail once we'll discuss the stages of analytics, but this is what the overview is. Basically, what predicting the future outcome. That is what predictive analytics is. Predicting the future outcome. Okay. Once you have done this also, then there comes prescriptive analytics. So this is nothing. This is simply basically whatever you have, ED you have done, whatever predictions you have done, predictive analytics you have performed. Based on that, you are just going to give suggestions by consulting your team leaders or managers ki what all decisions you should take. Now it's up to the client whether he wants to implement that or not, but this is what you're going to do. So prescriptive analysis is simply prescribing the solution. Okay. So these are the stages for any analytics project. Now, see, not all projects require predictive analytics. You can simply do EDA. For example, these two problems may not require predictive analytics. They just require EDA, and then you can simply prescribe the solution backed up with your analysis, right? So now if I come to the stages of analytics, there are three stages of analytics. What is the first one? Like from this, can you figure out what are the three stages of analytics? Hmm? You have to be loud. I can't hear properly. Yes, guys, what are the three stages of analytics? I have given you the number also. 456. 456, correct. So this EDA part is known as descriptive analytics. Okay. So this is descriptive analytics, which is nothing but EDA. That is, I can say, what has been happening with the business till now, or understanding what has been happening with the business till now. Then the second we have is predictive, which is what? Predicting the future outcome. Okay. Now let's say here, if I take an example, let's say I'm taking a cars data set. One more example of predictive can be, let's say, so on Diwali, there are bumper offers on the e-commerce platforms. So ultimately, that e-commerce platform, be it Amazon or Flipkart, it is going to predict what is going to be the traffic on the website. If it doesn't do that, what will happen? Either the site will crash.
Site crash.
Correct. Either the site will crash. Yeah. So ultimately, that's a loss to the company. The number of products they are, the profit that they will be able to make, they won't be able to achieve that target. So that's another example of predictive analytics. So let's say if I now let's understand what all variables a data set can have. Okay. So let's say there's a cars data set. Now tell me what all variables the cars data set can have. Now the business requirement is, or the objective is, let's say Maruti Suzuki wants to launch a new product into the market. Right? What it will do? It will first try to get the data of that particular segment. Let's say like what all features that particular segment is having, what all price that car is having. So what all variables I can have in this data set? Hmm? Sorry? Car variant. Car variant. Okay. So I can say a model, color, yes. What? Safety features. Okay, that's a very long list, but I can say NCAP rating. NCAP rating, yeah, fuel type. Fuel type, be it, okay. What else? Transmission. Transmission, whether it is manual or automatic. Capacity. Seating capacity, yes. Manufacturing year, it can be, it is a variable. Yeah, let me take that also. Let's say it's a cars data set for manufacturing year. It can be a variable. Yes. Uh, Manufacturing year. Then transmission. After that, what we had? Seating capacity. Car. So I can say segment. Car segment. Sedan, hatchback, SUV, full size SUV. Airbags. Okay. So number of airbags. Then I can have seating capacity. Ground clearance. Boot space. Which features? Infotainment. Okay. So yeah, infotainment features to, like each feature will be a variable then, right? So let me take infotainment size. What is the screen size of the infotainment? 10 inch, 12 inch. What else? What size? Wheel size. Wheel size. Okay. Yes. Whether it is 17 inch, 16 inch, 20 inch. Okay, so I can number of ACs. AC will only be one. AC vent. AC vents. Whether so yeah. Okay. AC vents. Rear AC vent. I can say because front though every car is having. Number of speakers. Guys, what? Seat alignment. Seat alignment. What do you mean by seat alignment? Recent models they are giving driver and passenger seats to be automatically. Okay. When the door open up. 8-way, 6-way. Okay. So if we continue with this, we will have around, let's say, 50 plus. I can say 500 plus. Because like let's say I'm not considered the features which are in the infotainment, cruise control, all of that. Each variable, each feature will be a variable, right? So I'm not considering, let's say, till this I'm having around 500 wires. One could be over here is this one, price of the car. Let me keep it over here, price. And then going on, let's say I have 500 variables, okay? Now, what Marty want to do is it wants to predict the sales. So this is my data set. I want to predict the sales. Okay. Now, one could be over here is brand, one variable, and right. Now let's say I have 500 variables. So now how predictive analytics is useful is I want to analyze among these 500 variables. See, if let's say I have these 500 variables. If I try to include all these features, I can say all these are what features. If I try to include all these 500 features in a particular car, what will happen to the pricing of my car? It will be very high. Like a 5 lakh car may have, if I include all these features in a 5 lakh car, it will go up to like say 35 lakh, which will not justify, right? So what I will do is I am going to see if among these 500 variables, what all variables are actually contributing in the sales. So all these 500 variables won't be contributing in the sales. There will be 15-20 variables among these 500 variables, which is actually reason for the sales contribution, which are actually contributing to the sales, right? For example, like if I generally consider that, so in these days, some people may be brand centric, some may be cost centric. Color, safety, fuel type, petrol, or mostly CNG. Automatic, mileage. Yes, mileage will be another variable over here. So among these, I will see what are the variables, 15-20 variables among these 500 variables, which are actually affecting the sales of the car. So now what I will do, I will only include those 15-20 features in my car. Let's say you want high ground clearance, I will include high ground clearance. You want big screen size, I will include big screen size. You want higher tire profile, I will include higher tire profile. Right? So whatever is the reason for you to purchase a particular car, you will find, if you will find all these things in a particular car, you are going to definitely buy that car, right? So what will then happen if I know what are the 15-20 variables which are actually affecting the sales of the car pricing will be on the lower side. Okay, this is one thing. Second thing, let's say if the company still want to increase lower the price of the car, decrease the price of the car. Okay, what the company can do is when I do predictive analytics, it will also tell me among these 15-20 features or variables, which is the topmost feature, like which is at the highest importance and which is at the lowest importance. So I can include only top 10 features that will also result in the sales growth of that particular brand or car. Correct? So now again, it depends on the business objective, whether you're going to perform descriptive analytics or predictive analytics. Now there may be a business objective which may require both. You have to perform descriptive and predictive both, and then prescribe. Third one is what? Which one? Prescribing the solution, which is prescriptive analytics. Again, this is just giving the solutions by consulting with the team leaders based on whatever analysis you have done. Okay, so prescriptive analytics. You don't have to worry about this. All these things you will be basically studying over here. So predictive is a part of ML, but you will be also doing predictive analytics in the stats part, very basic one. But if you want to entirely go into the predictive part, then you have to go with ML, okay, machine learning. Now, okay, so everyone clear till this point? Any doubt, guys? Online guys, any query? Okay. Now, if I talk about the tools over here, so we will have Excel, SQL, Power BI, and let's say, or I should include Python, Foundation plus stats. All these can be used for what? right? Now, why we are learning all these different tools? It depends on company to company, which tool what particular company is using. We can, whatever we are performing through Excel, we can do it through SQL. Obviously, we cannot do the visualization SQL, but every tool is having its own functionality. But yes, if you want to perform analysis, you can use any of these tools. We will understand what are the drawbacks of particular tools over here, but yes, these are for EDA. Clear? Okay. Now, if I now talk about Excel part. So what do you think? What are the advantages of Excel? Or what type of tool Excel is, let's say? It's a statistical tool. No. What kind of tool I should say? Data storage. No, we can store the data in Excel also. But there is a term for this particular term which is known as data handling. So what you can perform calculations in Excel. You can do visualizations in Excel. Then what else you can do? You can perform statistical analysis in Excel, the basic ones, right? You can do sorting, filtering, aggregation, pivoting in Excel. So it's a data handling tool. Basically, it is having a bit of each and every tool, I can say. Right? We will understand what is the drawback, but it's a data handling tool. When I say data handling, it will do data collection. We can collect the data storage, then data cleaning, data wrangling, data management. Then we have data manipulation or data transformation. Now tell me what all steps I can have over here in the data cleaning. Removing duplicates. Removing, I can say, duplicates, blanks, removing blanks, removing outdated data. That will be in data manipulation. Right? Etc. Like it depends on data, what kind of data it is, and what all anomalies that data is having. Yeah, I can say trimming the data. All these things I can do, and much more. Data manipulation means what? Changing data types. If there's a text column and I want it to be numeric, I can make it numeric. Changing data type of a column, adding a column. I can say add / remove column, grouping, pivoting, filtering. All these are doing what? All these are basically changing the structure of the data, filtering, and I can say sorting. So these all things will come under data manipulation or data transformation. So that is what a data handling tool is. Okay. Okay. Now, what are the advantages of Excel? Yes, guys. We can do storytelling. Storytelling. So storytelling is very subjective. I mean, you can go to sheet one, some dashboard, sheet to some other dashboard. Yes, that can be done. But for visualizations, we have some advanced tools, which is this one, Power BI. Right. Now, what are the advantages of Excel? What do you think? Hmm? Guys, you have to be a bit louder so that I can hear you.
Like Excel got and like all the tools that you have written about. Like you can do the visualization part, or the addition subtraction.
Okay. So basically the advantage is what? Easy to perform. That's the advantage. Like everything can be done with click of buttons. If I want to do the sorting, I can do it with click of buttons. If I want to do filtering, I can do it with click of buttons. If I want to remove duplicates, then only I just need to click on remove duplicate option. I don't have to write code for anything, right? So I can say most of the tasks, yeah, can be done with click of buttons. Ease of, that's again very subjective. If you have large data, then click of buttons, or I can say available on the ribbons. So this is what ribbon is, right? Home tab, data tab. These are all different options I'm having. I can say what else?
Ease of sharing.
Ease of sharing. How?
Can share data. Excel sheets can be shared over email or
This same sheet you can open on the web also, right? So I can even share the Power BI file over the email.
yes.
No, you require the license for the Power BI service. Now, for the sharing, you don't. So I can say easy to perform calculations, like what like the previous thing we were at, sharing of file. I can share the file on the email, but is it secure? No, emails are secure, but let's say if how do I put it? Let's say what happens is, okay, we are done. Sorry. Secure, you can share the file, but now I'm telling you, you have shared that file. Now I'm telling you ki, what you need to do is you build a dashboard at the overall level. Everyone understands what a dashboard is, right? It's just presentation of charts in the form of analysis. So overall level pe at the company level, let's say your company is operating in India in the four regions, right? North, east, south, west. So you have prepared a dashboard at the overall level. Now, what happens is the client comes and tells you, not the client, let's say the manager comes and tells you need to prepare a dashboard separately for the north head, separately for the south head, separately for the east or west, whatever. What you're going to do? Just filter the data. No, you have to do each and everything from the scratch in Excel.
You can create a copy and just filter out or just remove the.
You need to change the cache of the pivot table. So that's a different pivot table. You can share, I'm not denying that fact. You can share that on the mail. But now if this task comes, right, what will you do? You will prepare 4 dashboards and this one fifth. You will be preparing 5 dashboards. In Power BI, what I have to do? I have to just prepare this dashboard and not this one. I will just make use of Power BI service and I will basically do the filtering over there. So it will filter the data in the backend, so which will reflect the numbers on the charts.
The filtering can be done at the dashboard level as well.
Not in Excel. it's a manual effort. You'll understand this once we'll go through it. Because see, why Power BI service is paid? Because it is providing you features with that. It's
visualization of real time.
yeah. So I can say ki I can schedule my refresh. I can give the authority. Now you when you're sharing the file, okay, in Excel you have to do that every time. In different file you have to uh, protect the workbook and give the password, right? But in Power BI service, what I have to do, I can simply add the email ID and I can say this particular person has the read-only view, or this person can make changes to the dashboard. And in a single, let's say you have to share to the so you have to share it. What I can do is I can simply put those email IDs and I can tell which email IDs is having the access to make the changes in the dashboard and which one can't. Protect what? Yeah, but you have to do it again and again. Right? So what happens, let's say when the data gets updated, what will you do in Excel then? Again, you need to change the pivot cache, right? Which is not the case with Power BI. So yeah, it can be dynamic, but it's very, very complex. Excel is very useful. That's an advantage. It's very useful when you have smaller data sets. Quick analysis. Let's say you get the data. Your manager says, "Ki, get me the report and the overview of this data in half an hour." You can simply use Excel. But when we are saying Power BI, that is for the long term. Ki, I will design the flow of the data or flow of the pipeline once, and then I don't have to look at it. Let's say after 5 months or 6 months, I come back and I make changes to the pipeline because let's say data changes, right? So I make changes to the pipeline. I can get onto the another project. Yes. Yeah. So that's the pipeline. But Power BI service is the one which is automating it. And now, yes. So you need to have an organization ID to have the Power BI service subscription, right? Okay. So easy again. Power BI is also, I'll say, 80% similar to Excel. Whatever functions, formulas we are learning in Excel, we'll be doing in Power BI, and we will be doing in SQL also. So that's why I told you that Excel is very important when it comes to the concept, because you are able to understand the errors over here. You are able to visually see what the how like where the error is coming. But when it comes to SQL, you will just get the error, and you have to, because that's the code you have written, and you have to understand it in your head only. You won't be able to see in which line you are having the error, right? So I can say easy calculations, easy to perform calculations or visualizations. And good, or I can say beneficial for performing analysis on small data sets. Okay. I'll come to this point because we have a limitation also. What do you think? What is the limitation of Excel? And have the large.
And perform well on large
So
ones.
I can say it does not run smoothly or does not perform, does not run smooth operations on large data sets.
Yes.
No, it takes time. Sometimes, yeah, it can. That's why I'm saying it can, but it doesn't run smoothly. So sometimes it will hang up, sometimes it will shut it down. Any machine you take, it takes time in Excel. Even if you're using Google Sheets, it takes time over there also. Okay. So again, it doesn't work. So even if you have, let's say, 2.5 lakh records, then also it will take some time to perform whatever task you perform. We have large data. What's the second limitation? Hmm? Loading time. So that's the first one only. What do you mean by that?
Like the latest version of
Hmm.
Excel and another system has like the gaming system of
Yeah.
2016.
Mm,
Any kind of like say this
Yeah.
part. So when I have some differentiation.
Yes, basically the older versions of Excel are not having the functions which the latest version is having. So all different versions are having different functionalities. Okay,
Data
correct. So I can say limited data storage. Okay. Can't perform well on large data as maximum number of rows and columns out of which corrects first. Okay. Uh, so what's the last row of Excel? This is 10,48,576. That means you cannot insert more than 10,48,576 records in a particular sheet. This is the limit. How many columns you can have from A to XFT, right? Not more than this columns. These number of columns you can have in a particular sheet. You have to store in the sheet 2 or sheet 3. So then how it, let's say if you're 2 million records, then how you're going to build a dashboard for that? Or any chart for that, not using Excel, not possible, right? Because you cannot append the data. Okay. Now one task for you guys. Can you tell me how many columns are there in Excel in a particular sheet? Yeah. So this is the first column A, and this is XFT. I want the count. How many columns are there? Scroll where?
can go to the accepting column.
It,
Um,
no problem. Think through it.
It has a command type.
How did you
can
get that? Correct. That's the approach. Because I'm not able to count blank, right?
yeah,
So what
to
I
write
will,
something.
well, I'm making use of shortcuts. We will see what shortcuts are. Like what I will do, I will copy. I will make the selection of the entire row. I'll paste it.
Paste.
Can you see over here? If I put 0 over here, will my count still be the same?
Yes.
Count will be the same, the sum will be
Some
different.
will change, right?
Yeah.
Count will be the same, some will change. So this question I basically asked to see the approach, because ultimately you will be learning some function max min, but that is of no use until you are not able to use it in approach, right? So if I asked you, okay, how can I count the number of columns in a particular sheet? Everyone knows the shortcuts, everyone knows control C, control V, but get me this number. So that's the approach you need to build. Yeah, I can put a value over here, I can copy it, and then I can simply make the selection. It will automatically give me the count. Okay. Okay. Clear, everyone, till this point? Online guys, clear?
Yes.
Okay. Mhm. Now let's see the shortcuts in Excel. Now, see, so shortcuts depends on individual to individual. What shortcuts you're learning depends on your day-to-day task, right? It's not necessary you need to learn the shortcuts, but it's very convenient and time saving. Let's say if I want to select this entire column, what I will do, I will make the selection over here with the mouse and will drag it until it is selected. So I had 147 around or 146 rows over here. But imagine if you have 1 million rows, what will you do? Or let's say 9 lakh records. Are you going to keep scrolling every time? Right? So this is how the shortcuts are helpful. You can scroll, obviously, but it is going to be very time consuming and very irritating. So whatever task you're performing very frequently on day-to-day basis, you can basically learn shortcuts for that. Right? Okay. Now let's see some shortcuts over here. Let's say my cursor is at what? This cell B2, right? Now I want to jump to the last column, which is H2. So I will say, I will press Control and I will play with the directional arrows. There are 4 directional arrows, up, down, left, and right. So I want to move to the right hand side to the last column. So I will say Control and right arrow. Now my address is what? H2. So this is my address bar. This is my formula bar. H2, right? But now what happens is whenever I will press control and directional arrows, it will take me to the what? Last filled cell. So when I say last filled cell, that's income tax. What I will do is let me remove this. Wait, employee designation. Let me remove this. Okay. So what will happen over here is, okay, now I will press, if I want to move to this cell, salary after tax, what will I will do? Employee, control, right arrow. Where am I? Why department? Because this is the last filled cell. If I need to jump to the last cell, I have to press control right arrow again and one more time. Clear? Same will happen in the case of the rows as well. If I want to go to the last row of this table, I will say control down arrow. It is taking me to the last row of this particular column, not table, column. And if I want to go to the first cell of this column, control up arrow. Very useful to see what how many records you're having or what's the last record, right? Suppose employee designation. Okay. Similarly, in case of, let's say what I want to do now is I want to select this entire column, all the column names. Control Shift and directional arrows. So I will say Control Shift, done. Again, this also works with last filled cell wala concept. If I want to select this entire column, Control Shift, down arrow. Clear? Now, if I want to select the entire table, what will I do? First, I can select the either select the entire row or the entire column. So let's say I have selected all the column and then Control Shift down. Right. The another shortcut for this is another shortcut for this is Control A. But I won't recommend to use Control A Because if there is a particular row which is entirely missing, blank, and if you're having let's say 9 lakh, 8 lakh records or more than that, so you won't come to know whether your entire table is selected or not, right? So preferred method will be what?
That would be the same case with previous.
But you will know. If I say control shift down, this, I will look my entire is not.
There is more data in 150.
So I will press one more time, same case, but I will at least know कि this data, this entire row which is missing. Yeah, because it will take me, let's say if I delete this. And I think some issue. 135, yeah, not selecting the entire one, right?
Control A will also service.
Yeah, but what I can, okay, let's say if I say do control A, 1 second, control A and A. Are you able to select the next portion of it? 1 second, let me just do one thing. Merchant center, let's say if this works now. Okay. No, right? So what I will do, let's say if I do control shift right arrow, control shift down and control shift down again. So this one is the preferred method in such cases. If you don't have any blank rows, you can simply go with control A. Clear? Okay. Now, so these work with what? Last filled cell. The shortcuts. So these shortcuts will be very helpful. So it is control plus directional arrows. To jump to the last filled cell. Control plus shift plus direction arrows. To select the entire row or column till last filled cell. So these two shortcuts are very important because day in and day out we'll be selecting the ranges. Okay. Yeah. Another shortcut, let me tell you, which I very frequently use is control. Let's say we want to add a data in between. So control plus shift is for to add a row or column. Then we have control plus minus, which is to delete a row or column. In Excel, whatever task you're performing, before that, the first thing which is mandatory is the selection. You need to select first and then perform the task. So to delete a row or a column. So let's say I want to add a row over here. So what I have done, I have selected what? The entire row. Now I will press Control Shift plus. I'm able to add Control minus. Control Shift plus. Okay. Over here you can say. So you need to make the selection first. Now, again, as per it depends ki what all tasks are performing on day-to-day basis, and accordingly you can search for the shortcuts on Google and learn it. Okay. The other way is, let's say what I want to do is I want to merge these two inside home tab. I will say H. When I press H, what will happen? It is showing me all the functionalities, shortcuts available in the home tab. I want to do what? Merchant center. I will say M. Now it is showing me what all options I have. So let's say merchant center. Then I will press C. So this is what? Merged. These two cells are merged. Okay. So these shortcuts works in sequence. They don't work in a single go like Control B, Control C. They work simultaneously, but these works in sequence. So what the shortcut? So let me say shortcut to see all the shortcuts. Shortcut to see all the shortcuts. So you basically press Alt. And similarly, then in sequence, you can keep pressing the alphabets, whatever task you want to perform. Okay. Okay. So this is what we have in shortcuts. Any query, guys? Online. Online guys, any query? No? Offline guys, clear? Okay. So it's 10:50. Let's have a break and we have seen shortcuts. This one. Okay. So next thing. So what are the types of data we have? Tell me, what's the types of data that we have?
Number.
That's data type.
Date.
That's again data type.
Structured data.
Correct. Structured, unstructured. Yeah, correct. Was tabular. Okay. So structured. Then we have unstructured. And then we have semi-structured. What's the structured data? Sorted. Correct. Data in the tabular. Okay. Example. What?
Employee data sheet.
Employee data sheet. No, give me the tools where I can have the tabular data. SQL is not a tool. SQL is a language which is used to connect to the databases, structured databases. Excel, correct. Excel is having what? Structured data?
Access.
Again, MS Access. What else?
CRM.
CRM tools are not storing the data. They are connected to the database in the backend where the data is getting stored. Right? So whatever you're registering on the, let's say, website, that data is getting stored somewhere, right? So let's say when you're registering on Amazon, you're registering your contact details, whatever details you're registering over there. So that is not stored on the website. That is stored in the backend in the database. Databases or mostly relational databases. Relational databases, yes. So I can say RDBMS. Which is relational databases management system. Relational database management systems, which stores the structured data. That is data in the form of tables. And we have Oracle also over here. Etc. In the structured data part. Okay. What else we have? MySQL. Okay, yeah. So these are all different database management systems which stores the structured data. Now, when I said SQL Server, MySQL, PostgreSQL, IBM, so we have a database server. See, if I make you understand this, this is very technical, but let's just for the information part, you have a database server in which you create multiple databases. Each database will have multiple tables, right? Now, this is, let's say, a DBMS system, RDBMS. This is a IDE, Interface Development Environment, where you write the code, right? So what you write the code over here. Now, what RDBMS is doing, it is managing the connection between the database server and the user. So whatever commands you're giving over here, it is performing those commands in the database server. So RDBMS systems are used for that. Clear? To connect to the databases. What is unstructured data? What do you mean by raw data? Like raw data is a very wide term. I can have a tabular data. I can call it a raw data because I haven't done any changes to it, right? It's still untouched. Pixel form. Yes. Huh? Pixel form. So you are giving an example over here. Yeah. So now tell me what can be the example of unstructured data? Images, text, PDF, audio, video, graph, let's say. What else? What else? So very simple example of this would be what? Word file. That also stores what? Unstructured data. So even if you have a tabular data in this Word file, it's still unstructured. Okay. Now what is semi-structured then? What?
Charts.
Charts. Like what do you mean by charts over here?
The data visualized chart, then you have all the data that it is showing this particular like number is this size of the particular file ID.
But that data is where? That's a visual. But the data of the visual is stored in what format? Structured. What is semi-structured? So let me give you the definition, then give me an example. Okay. So I'll say data in any random format, but has the property of getting converted into structured data. Or tabular data. Now tell me an example.
I guess PDF and
No, PDF is unstructured. Have you guys heard of CSV file? Comma separated value file. Right? XML file, extended markup language, JSON file, JavaScript object notation. All these are what? Semi-structured. Yeah. So let me give you an example of CSV over here. So let me have a Excel sheet. And what I will do is let's say I'm giving the columns over here as name and I'm giving the age. Let's say name be A, B, C, D. Okay. And the age be 12, 21, some age. Now what I will do is I will save this file. Save as let me save it on the desktop. Okay. Name of the file is book2. What is the file type? Excel workbook. Let me make it as CSV. CSV, right? Book2 is the name I have given and save. So this file is saved as a CSV file. Okay. Now what I will do is this is the file. I will open it up using Notepad. Open with Notepad. What is the pattern you're able to notice over here? The columns are comma separated and the values are also comma separated. They are not in the same, I'll say, aligned, right? Same alignment, but still, if I'll open this in the Excel, it will be in different columns. So it is in any format it can be, but has the property of getting converted into structured format. That is what semi-structured is. But let's say if I again have this file over here, right? If I again save it, let's say save as, browse, and let it be book3. Let me save it as text. Okay. And desktop. Save. Let me go to desktop again. This is book 3. Let me open it up. So this is also what? Tab delimited, space delimited, I saved it. But if I purely save it as, let me delete it. And if I save it again, this one, book 2, this is book 3. So if I open that using Excel, it will look like this. Let me save it again. Save as, browse, desktop, and let's say I'm saving it as PDF. Okay, save. This is how it looks like in PDF. But if I try to open this now using Notepad, are you able to see any pattern in it? Does it has the property of getting converted into any structured tabular data? So PDF is what? Unstructured. Clear? Still open. Huh? I'll just delete that. Yeah. So clear with the difference between structured, semi-structured, and unstructured. We'll be working with structured data only. Okay. Now tell me what, if you're clear with the types of data, now tell me what are the data types in Excel. Yes. So let's say if we go by, so I have majorly two, let's say text and numeric. Text me, let's say if I give an example, this is what? Text, right? Another example could be, let's say if I take employee ID, so let's say EMP underscore 001. What is this? Alphanumeric, which is one of the type of text. Okay. Now, tell me numeric me what all data types we have. So I have integer, decimal, decimal slash float. Yes, int done. What else? What? Sorry? Date. Okay. So I have date and time. Which one? Months. So that's date time. String. So string is text. Currency is not a data type, it's formatting which you can apply. Right? Or calculation. So INR is not a data type. But you can convert dollar into INR or INR into dollar. Boolean. Okay. Example of int could be, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. Decimal example could be 1.2, 1.00, 1, 2.34, 32 like this. Date and time. So I'm using a function for this, now function. This will return me what? Today's date and yeah, today's date and current time. So it is 11:28. So if I'll just refresh it again, it should give me that 11:29. Right. What is the format of the date over here?
Month, month, month,
M D Y. Let's say month, day, year. Okay. What will be the Boolean? True, false, or 1, 0? Okay. Now tell me ki, my question is, when do we get a Boolean output? Guys,
when we use a main function and or that focus.
logical functions. Not necessary. I mean, I can combine and or with some other function type, numeric or text. So, like in a very simple manner, when will you get a Boolean output, true or false? What will you do? So let's say there is a number uh, 2 and 3. So can you get a Boolean output using these two numbers somehow? How?
Functions
If function does not give you Boolean output, it gives you true value and false value. I'm not going to functions only. I haven't started with functions. Just tell me how can I get a Boolean output? Logical functions, not using it. Without that. Condition, what condition you will pass?
equals or
Correct. Correct. So you get a Boolean output when you do comparison. Here we are using comparison operators. Right? If I'll say 2 equals to 3. Sorry, 2 equals to 3. See, in Excel, every formula or every formula or function starts with equals to. So I'm saying is 2 equals to 3. It will give me true or false. It is not, it will return me what? If I am saying is 2 greater than equals to 3, false. I am saying is 2 equals to 2. Is 2 less than 3? I can say is 2 not equals to 3. So when I'm getting a Boolean output, whenever I am doing what? Comparison. Remember this thing. Comparison, very important. You will get a Boolean output whenever you do comparison. Clear? Okay. So these are the data types that we have. Okay. Now, one more thing over here we have is a categorical versus continuous. So I can say categorical. But this I will define later. Let's say I have a column. The column is, let's say, product category. Okay. And I am saying 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my column. What kind of variable it is? Is it categorical or continuous? Continuous. Half of you are saying categorical, half of you are saying continuous. Why continuous? Because numeric values. Why categorical?
Because it depends products
We are dividing products into
Context.
categories like 1, 2,
Right.
3, 4.
So it's a categorical variable. Right? If the values are numeric, it does not necessarily mean that particular variable is continuous. I'll tell you the reason. Okay? Now, this is cat underscore, should say labels. Okay? Product underscore cat. Let's say first one is furniture. Second one is accessory. And electronics. Yeah. Electronics, and the fourth one we have is which one? Give me some category, guys. Pharmaceutical. Okay. Okay. Oh, we have got a category kitchen. Yeah, that can be also category. Okay. Now, if I take some of it, can I take some of it? Yes or no? I can take some of it. Gaurav, I can take some of it. But now my next question is whether this sum makes sense. No.
No.
Right? Because I cannot say कि some furniture plus accessory plus electronics plus pharmaceutical. This doesn't make sense. But I can have like sales of furniture plus accessory. That will make sense. Right? So this will be what? Categorical variable. So I will say variable or var on which it doesn't make sense to perform arithmetic operations or arithmetic operations are what? Categorical. Because this is numeric. Data type is numeric. But it does not make sense to perform any arithmetic operation on top of it. I can perform arithmetic calculation, but it does not make any sense to perform any calculation because these are just what? Labels. So in future, what I can do is I can change the data type of this from numeric to text. That's a part of data cleaning, right? If it is already text, then that's well and good. That's not a problem only. Okay. So clear with the categorical variable part? Then we have continuous. Because this one is very important. You need to understand which one is categorical variable and which one is continuous. This concept will be till the end of ML or DL. Okay. Now, let's say I am taking a column which is salary. Okay. Now, let's say 23, 34, sorry. Now tell me, is it continuous or categorical? Categorical, right? Because when I take sum of it, it will return me what? 0. Because the data type is what? Text. Yeah, Gaurav. Okay. Is it categorical, right? Why?
So it defines salary of different person. Different personality.
Yeah, correct. But I want to know what is the overall expense of a particular company. So will I take the sum of the salary column because that's an expense for the company? So will I deduct the individual salaries or I will just have a number combined at once? Aggregate number. Aggregate number. So it is returning me 0 does not necessarily mean it's a categorical, because I'm taking the counterparts over here. If it's numeric, that's well and good, right? But I can take what's the average salary in a particular company. It does make sense. But since the data type is text over here and I'm not able to perform arithmetic calculation, does not mean it's not continuous. I will change the data type to numeric and then perform the arithmetic operation or any calculation which I want to perform. Clear? So you have to think whether it makes sense or not to perform calculation on that particular variable. So it depends on the context. See the column name, understand the context. It's saying product category, cat. If it is saying product cat underscore sales, then that's continuous, right? So it depends on the variable, whether it is categorical or continuous. If data type is numeric or text, does not necessarily mean that if data type is text, it does not necessarily mean that variable will be what? Categorical. If the data type is numeric, that does not necessarily mean that variable will be continuous. यहाँ पे data type what was the data type over here? Numeric, but it does not make sense. It's categorical. Here the data type was what? Text, but it does make sense to perform calculation on it. So it's what? Continuous. So where on which it makes sense. That's why I'm saying it makes sense to perform arithmetic operations are what? Continuous variable. Clear? This will also be applicable in the case. What is this? How this will be? Exactly. What is it? Yes. These are the same employee salary. Then it will be. Sparsh, how it will be the same employee salary? Because ultimately, okay. If you are doing an analysis, let's say if an employee has switched after every 2 years, how much growth he has received in salary compared to the employee who has been in the same company, right? For then in that case, you can perform this analysis. Then it will be continuous, right? Otherwise, also it is continuous. Okay, guys, clear with the continuous variable and categorical variable? If you are clear with this, then tell me. Okay, यहाँ पे which variable is categorical and which is continuous? Brand. Categorical, model, color, and cap rating. Continuous. What's the cap rating? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Max is 5. What does 5 mean? Safest. Good build quality. What does 1 mean? Not safe at all, right? So is it categorical or continuous?
Categorical.
I told you numeric value does not necessarily mean continuous. Fuel type, categorical.
Categorical.
Transmission, manufacturing year,
Cat-
categorical.
Continuous.
Okay. So let's say 2017, 2018. If I take 2017 plus 2018, will it make sense?
No.
Which one? Categorical.
Categorical.
Segment, number of
Categorical.
airbags,
Continuous.
continuous.
Continue.
Okay, so minimum airbags you can have in a car is 2. Max you can have then you have 4, then you have 6, and then you have 8. Not more than that, probably, right? Let's say 10, even if there is any car which is providing 10. So are there any other values except this? If you have millions of records also, these values will be repetitive, right? So are they now if I say 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8 plus 10, will it make sense?
No.
So which one is what it is?
Categorical.
Seating capacity, ground clearance, categorical, because these are some standard numbers: 180, 210, 205, 225. These are standard numbers. Seating capacity continuous. How it can be continuous? 5 and 7 and 8. Probably 9. Let's say Innova 9. Are there any other numbers? So what it is? Now we can say seating capacity is continuous. If you take even perform any calculation on it, will it make sense? Even if you take the sum of it, 7 plus 5 plus 8 plus 9, or any two numbers you take sum of, will it increase the capacity of some other car? Will it reflect some other category? But we are not considering bus over here. No, that's not in the data. It's a car data set. Clear?
But if we talk about
But that doesn't make any sense. Like, let's say, if I, what we can say. So it's similar to, I can say, what example I can take over here? Mhm. Let's say I'm doing some research, and you have a car, I have a car. And if I take the total or average of our seating capacity of the car, will it make sense? How?
like we mostly people prefer like car of 5 passengers.
So we have
If
5.
we have 2 passengers car, 2 passengers car. So if we and
So that's a different segment. So if you take so that's a different segment. So that means you are performing calculations on different segments car. Doesn't make sense. See, it's similar as number of airbags. Right? Yeah. It's similar as number of airbags, seating capacity. Okay. Ground clearance, categorical. Boot space, categorical. Infotainment size, wheel size, real AC event, categorical, particularly which data type? Boolean. Either yes or no. Number of speakers, price, continuous. Okay. Sales, continuous. So clear with categorical and continuous? Now, next thing we are going to see is how to change the data type. Okay. How to change the data type? We'll see it later. Let's start with custom formatting. So let's say if I this one is done. So till here we had the overview of Excel. Let me just rename this. There I have the data. And here we'll start with formatting. Okay. What is the formatting? You guys have seen this day in and out. What is formatting? Shows what? Representation of data? Yes. So let's say if I talk about the types of formatting. Formatting types, basically first one will be what? Text. Text formatting. And then we have number formatting. Now, if I take an example of a text over here, let's say I have a variable which is Raj. Second. I have a value which is Raj. Okay. When I click on this, what you see over here? Raj in the formula bar. Okay. Now I'll make it bold. Is whatever representation you are doing over here, has it been affected in the formula bar also? No.
No.
Let me make it red colored. Now, let me make it underlined, italic. All these are what? Formattings on the text. But my actual value is what? Still the same, right? Now let's take an example of number formatting. I have a value which is 1.23, right? What's my value? 1.23. Let me increase the now. Okay. What you're able to see over here with the display purpose, the value is what? What is the actual value? So when I applied the formatting, has my actual value changed? My actual value is still the same. What has happened? Only the appearance of the value has changed. How I want to make the value appear or look like, right? So this is what formatting is. So I can say just the appearance of the value changes and not, and the actual value still remains the Hmm.
Continuous variable is independent variable or dependent variable?
Both depends on the business objective. Just the appearance of the value changes and the actual value still remains the same. Okay. So what you are asking is this one. Okay. So that's a ML part. I'm not getting into it, but let me just give an overview of this. This is my car data set, right? I want to predict the sales of the inventory. I want to predict what sales or inventory. So this is what. So whatever I'm going to predict is my dependent variable. Whichever variables I am using to predict the dependent variable are my independent variables. So that's a concept of statistical modeling or machine learning. But this is what it is, right? So here, my dependent variable is what? Continuous. In the independent variables, I have both categorical and continuous. Another example could be over here is Sparsh, which one? Another example could be over here, let's say. So for the bank, you want to build a model where you want to predict whether if I give a loan to a person, whether that person is going to fraud or not, default or not, right? So in that case, default or not, 1-0, or true or yes or no. That will be what? Dependent variable will be what? Categorical. And I'll be using independent variables. Independent variables can be categorical and continuous to predict whether that person is going to default or not in giving the loan. So that's logistic regression, where the dependent variable is categorical and where the dependent variable is continuous, that's linear regression. So whatever you are going to predict predict the future outcome, that is your dependent variable. So I'm going to predict the future sales for a particular product. So here my sales variable is dependent variable. And whichever variables I'm using to predict the sales, that those all variables are my independent variables. Now, among these all independent variables, I'll be using 15-20. I'll be getting 50-20 top variables, which are actually contributing in the sales of the dependent variable. Sparsh, clear? So just the appearance of the value changes and not actual value still remains the same. Now, so this is the general overview of the formatting, text and numeric. So we'll be now working with custom number formatting. So that means ki, as the name suggests, this won't be applicable for the text values. So even if the text values, let's say this is numeric or text. So even if I apply number formatting, custom number formatting on this, it won't be applicable because it's a text. Okay. Custom number formatting. So what I want to do is, let's say I have weights in grams. And the weights values are, let's say, 400, 700, 1200, 1600. This is my column. Now what I want to do is, question is, display the weights in grams. Clear? In front of each value, I want to have what? Gram. I want to change what? Representation of my value. Let me just copy this and paste it over here. Okay. One way to do is, what I can do is, I can make over here in double quotes, I can say gram. I can do this, right? This is also showing me the grams. Yes or no? Okay. When I click on this, what you're able to see? When I click on this, what you're able to see? So is it formatting? I have manipulated the value. It was numeric. Data type has gone to text. If I take sum of it, what are the total weights? 0. Okay. So there are few things that we should keep by default. Text values are left aligned and numeric values are right aligned. It's by default. Okay. Okay. So that means if I change the alignment from left to right, it will be numeric. This one. Yeah. Is it numeric now? No. So by default it happens, but just remember, even if your text values are right aligned, it does not necessarily mean that they will be numeric. Even if I take the sum of it, it will be 0. So all these steps are what? In the data preparation, data cleaning, you need to take care of. Right aligned does not, so even if there is no gram, even if the value is 400 and it is right aligned, does not necessarily mean it will be what? Numeric. So that means that this is not the correct method to go with. Right? This is how I cannot display the values in grams. So what will I do is, for this, I will use custom formatting, custom number formatting. Let me just make a copy of it and paste it. making this. What is the first thing you're going to do? Select. I have made the selection of all the values. Now, in the home tab, you can see this number section. Here we have this drop down. Go to this drop down. More number formats. Okay. This window will open up. Okay. Now here you will go to where? Custom. This is what general is. Now, whatever changes you're going to perform, you will be able to see in the sample. So I will say now 0. What 0 means? 0 means the entire value before the decimal. 0 means what? Entire value before the decimal. There's no decimal over here. If I say 0.0, it will display till what? Till one decimal place. If I said 0.00, it will display the value till 2 decimal places. You can see in the sample. I don't require decimals over here because I do not have the values 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. So I'm just keeping till 0 over here. Now, what I want to do, I want to display the values in graph. So in double quotes, I will write GM. Can you see the sample 400 grams and done. Changed. But 400, if I click on 400, what is the value? But for the display purpose, it is my actual value has not changed. What is the formula over here? 0 and gram. So even if I take sum of it, it will return me the output in the grams. Clear? So we are using custom formatting to basically change the appearance of the data and not the actual value. Right. Okay. This is the formula. So let me write the rules over here. I'll keep adding to this rule. 0 displays what? 0 displays what? Entire value before the decimal. 0.00 will do what? Will display the value till 2 decimal places. Clear? Let me again copy this thing. Now question is display the weights in kgs and grams. Okay. That is, if the weight is less than 1000, 1 kg is how many grams? 1000 grams. If the weight is less than 1000, it will be displayed in grams. If the weight is greater than equals to 1000, it will be displayed in kgs. Okay. Copy, paste over here. Let me make the selection. Now, shortcut, I'll tell you later, but tell me now what I need to do. General, more number formats, and custom, right? Now the shortcut for this is, let me write the shortcut. Control 1. What I will do, I'll first make the selection and then I will say control 1. The same window will open up. Custom now. 0.0. Okay, let's say 0. Then, so earlier what we did, we did the formatting without any condition. Now, if we need to give the condition, you have to use square brackets in number formatting. So what will be my condition in the square bracket? if the value is greater than equals to 1000, I need to display the value in kg. So I will say greater than equals to 1000. Now I need to display what? kg. That is okay, but I need to this is just the condition. I need to display the value also. For the value, I will put what? 0.0. Because this 1200 will become what? 1.2 kg. So I need one decimal places till one decimal place 0.0, and then I will say what? Kg. Right? Kg. Now for the else part, if it is not kg less than 1000, greater than equals to 1000, it will be what? Less than 1000. So I need to display less than 1000 in grams. So for the else part, you will give semicolon. Semicolon. And I don't need to give any condition over here. So I will say 0 because it will be in grams only. So 0 what? Gram. Clear? What happened? Some issue came over here. 1 second. Zero point zero into kg else 0 gram. That is, I am saying kg. I want to represent kg till one decimal place and grams till 0 decimal places. Yeah, done. Is it correct?
No.
It is, units are correct, but the conversion is not correct. Right? Okay. Let's say you have a 1200 gram. If 1200 gram you have, if you want to display this 1200 gram into kgs, how will you do that? Divide by what? 1000. So I will say 1200 divided by 1000, which is 1.2 kg. Now in formatting, why use square brackets? To pass the conditions. Pass the condition. Now, there's a one more thing which we have is comma. Comma is what? A 1000 separator. That is, if you are using a comma, that means divides by 1000. Clear? Okay. Back to this. This is incorrect. Control 1. This is my formula. Formula I need to modify. This is 0.00. This is the value which I want to divide. Comma. Put comma. Now it's correct. I'll put. Now, if I click on 1.2 kg, my value is still the same, 1200. But for the display purpose, I have changed this thing into kg. Control 1. Let me copy the formula. Paste it over here. Any doubt in this formula? Square bracket to pass the condition, comma to divide by 1000. Rules, yeah. Clear? Okay.
After it, you semicolon.
Samic, okay, Samic, I haven't written it over here. Semicolon is for the else part. If it is not greater than equals to 1000, else part will be what? Less than 1000. Clear? Online guys, any query in this formula?
Can you show the rules again once?
Clear?
Yes.
Offline guys. Yeah. If this you're clear with this, then let's say I have a value which is 12,000. Then I have a value which is 12,000, 1,12,000, 1,20,000, 12 lakh. Then I have a value which is, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Display values into 1000, million, and billion. How can I go about it? Yeah, custom formatting. You know the rules, right? Now, tell me. What will be the formula? Okay, square bracket to pass the condition. What will be the condition?
Greater than equal to
Greater than equals to 1000. Okay. Equals to, okay, let me do one thing, not over here. Let me write your formula over here. Right? It will be much better. Greater than equals to 1000. Then what?
We'll start with the largest one.
Correct. What is the problem with this?
Every value will be greater than.
If I am giving my first condition, which is satisfying the criteria for all the values conditions are met over here. Every value is greater than 1000.
after we use that,
Else condition, what will be the condition? Less than 1000. If the first condition is greater than equals to 1000, else part will be what? Less than 1000.
So I think instead of 1000, there should be 6 zeros like in the condition 1 plus.
See, you have
Something.
to go either in increasing order or decreasing order, right? If I'm going in the increasing order, this, let's say, cutoff is my increasing order, like 1000, not 1000. I'll say यहाँ पे 1000 वाला नहीं होगा. It will be no, it will be अगर greater than equals to है तो पहले आएगा. It will be greater than equals to 1 billion, then greater than equals to 1 million, and then the else part.
We can use less than equal to.
Yeah, I'll tell you. So let me say increasing order of cut. This is a decreasing order of cutoff, right? Decreasing order cutoff. So it will be what? First will be what? I'm just writing it over here. It will be greater than equals to 1b, for example, greater than equals to 1b, then else part greater than equals to 1m, else will be what? Otherwise, and the else part will be what? Less than, I don't need to give the condition over here because it will be automatically less than 1 million, right? Because if I take greater than, I have to take billion at the first. This is decreasing order of cutoff. That means the highest value will be first and will with the greater than equals to symbol.
But we have to show the largest value as billion,
Yeah.
right? So we can use million instead of billion.
So then it will show billion also as million. If you are saying greater than equals to 1 million,
Why use equals to? You can just use greater than 1 million.
greater than 1 million.
First condition.
So if it is greater than 1 million, then 2 million will be shown as billion. I don't want to show that. 2 million as into billion. 20 lakhs into billion. I don't want to show 20 lakhs into billion, right? So this is decreasing order cutoff and it is increasing order of cutoff. If it's increasing order, that means key smallest value to the largest value. So I want to show this into K, this into million, and this into billion. Right? So I will say less than equals to less than 1m. Let me just write it over here in the short. Greater than equals to 1 billion, then show into what? Billion. And if it is greater than equals to 1 million, then show into what? Million. And then if it is less than 1 million, then show that into K. Right? If it is less than 1 million, I want to show that into what? K. Now, if it is not less than 1 million, it should be less than 1 billion. So it should be less than 1 billion. And I will show that into million. Else, show that into what? Billion. Because even if it is not less than 1 billion, it will be greater than 1 billion for the else part. So you have to go in sequence, either in increasing order of cutoff or decreasing order of cutoff. When you have decreasing order of cutoff, that is highest value to lowest value, the symbol will be greater than equals to. When you have increasing order of cutoff, smallest value to largest value, you have less than symbol. Because what will happen, let's say if I take less than 1 billion, right? And I take 1 million later. So 1 million is also less than 1 billion. That will be also represented into million. I mean, 1000 will also be represented into million. So the sequence is very important. Cutoff sequence. When you are having decreasing order of cutoff, the sequence should be what? Greater than equals to symbol. When you have increasing order of cutoff, the symbol should be what? Less than. So I'll show you both over here. So I have this value, this, okay. Let me just control 1. Okay. Now let's do it using decreasing order of cutoff, that is highest value to lowest value. So if the value is greater than equals to what? 1 billion, I want to represent the value into billion. So I will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 zeros. Yeah. What I want to do? 0. Let's say 0.01 decimal place I'm showing. And I will say M. Sorry, B. Right? Okay. 1 comma. Is it correct? See, okay. We have to go into the multiple. If I want to convert into 1000, I will divide by what? Comma, which is by 1000. If I want to divide by 1 million to convert into million, I will divide by how many commas? 5 commas. 1 comma is having 3 zeros. 2 comma is having how many? 6. There, but yeah, that's a comma is working as a denominator. 1000 into 1000, 1 million. If I want to divide by 1 billion, 1000 into 1000 into 1000, how many commas? 3 commas. So 1, 2, 3 billion. Else part के लिए semicolon. Now, if the value is not greater than equals to 1 billion, it should be greater than 1 million. So again, square bracket, and I will say greater than equals to what? 6 zeros. And display the value till, let's say, 1 decimal place. How many commas? 2. And display the value into million. Else, if the value is not even greater than 1 million, it will be definitely less than 1 million. And whichever values are less than 1 million, I want to display those values into 1000. So 0.0, comma, and k. Then, okay, let me just copy this formula. Then I have to write it again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I will say 0.0123 billion. Else, it then equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0.0 and comma and into million, and else part 0.0 into k. Yeah, comma into k. Yeah. So is it correctly done? Right? And the actual value is still the same. Let me this is decreasing order of cutoff formula. Let's do the same thing in increasing order of cutoff now. What will be the formula? Condition. Increasing order of cutoff, that means the lowest value to highest value, and symbol will be less than. So if the value is less than what? 1000? Million. Because 1000 doesn't make any sense over here. You have to decide your cutoffs as per the conditions. 1 million, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want to display the value till 1 decimal place, and I want to show the value into 1000. So okay. Else, y double comma. If the value is less than 1 million, I want to display the value into 1000. Because whichever value is greater than 10 lakh, greater than equals to 10 lakh, I want to display those value into million. Right? So if it is not less than 1 million, it check for the next condition whether it is less than 1 billion or not. Because the condition has to be checked in sequence. First condition will be checked. If that is a false, then second condition will be checked. If that is also false, then the else part will be checked. So if it is not less than 1 million, it should be less than what? 1 billion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that means 99,99,999. Right? And I will say 0.0. I want to display the value till 1 decimal places and show the value into million. So divide by 2 commas, and I will say m. Else, if it is not even less than 1 billion, it will be greater than equals to 1 billion. So display the value till 1 decimal places, let's say, and divide by how many commas? 3. And I will say यहाँ पे P.
Stays at the P.
That is not an issue. It's an Excel issue. It's keep happening. Just 1 second. This thing happens in every class. Less than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then 0.08 else, comma, else check whether less than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0.0, 2 commas, and into M, else 0.0, into 3 commas, and into billions. We got the same output, but our approach was different. So you may use different approaches, but ultimately the output is going to be the same. Some may go with this one, some people may go with this one. Increasing order of cutoff, decreasing order of cutoff. And this is also very useful. The same logic we'll be applying in the if function also when we'll be covering the functions part. Okay. Any doubt over here? Clear? If there's no doubt, then there's a homework for you guys.
Please add some red sets to
I'll be sharing this sheet. It will be uploaded in the LMS. Now, there's a limitation of custom number formatting. The limitation is at max you can pass only 2 conditions, and the third condition is the else part along with the I should say, and the third along with the else part. Okay, this is the limitation. So let's say your homework is, let's say I have this, and then there's 1, 2, 3 values. What I want to show is this. I want to display as 1, 2, 3. This will be 12K. This will be 1.2 M. This will be 1 P. You have to, this is homework. You need to display these, giving the conditions into these. You have 3 conditions over here. So let me give you the hint over here. Use custom formatting in conditional formatting. I haven't covered conditional formatting, which I'll be taking up tomorrow. But you need to explore this thing, conditional formatting, how you are able to use custom formatting, and how you can overcome this limitation using conditional formatting. Clear? So that's the homework. Now tell me, any query till this point? No? Okay. Online guys, any query?